First strike. Commander Lyra Thex stood at the helm of the Nexarian flagship Eternal Dawn, her iridescent scales reflecting the holographic display of Earth's solar system. After conquering 12 star systems, she had expected this mission to be routine. The reports classified Earth as a pre-FTL civilization, barely managing to establish bases on their own moon. Yet something about the sensor readings made her dorsal spines tingle with unease. Analysis complete, Commander, her second-in-command, Ven, reported. Their defensive capabilities appear minimal. Primitive satellite networks, a handful of space stations, and some basic installations on Mars and their moon. Lyra's outer eyelids narrowed. Show me their communication patterns. The holographic display shifted, revealing a complex web of signals crisscrossing the solar system. Most were simple radio waves, with occasional bursts of what appeared to be experimental quantum communications, but it was the pattern that caught her attention. These signals, she muttered, they're too organized for a pre-FTL species. She manipulated the display, highlighting specific signal clusters. Look at the redundancy, the backup systems. They're prepared for disruption. Ven clicked his mandibles dismissively. Surely you don't think. Run a deep scan of the asteroid belt. Lyra interrupted. Every rock larger than a meter across. As the scan results began streaming in, Lyra's suspicions were confirmed. What appeared to be ordinary mining operations were actually carefully disguised weapon platforms. Solar panels that could double as energy collectors for laser arrays. Mass drivers that could launch kinetic projectiles with devastating accuracy. They've been preparing, she breathed. Not just preparing. They've transformed their entire solar system into a fortress without anyone noticing. The implications were staggering. Instead of developing advanced technology, humans had found ways to repurpose their existing tools for defense. It was an approach so primitive that it had slipped past the Nexarians' sophisticated detection systems. Launch the first wave, Lyra ordered, her voice firm despite her growing uncertainty. Let's see how they respond when they know we've arrived. The invasion fleet emerged from FTL in a dazzling display of power, their energy signatures deliberately unmasked. Within moments, humanity's response began, but not as expected. Instead of panic or aggression, they'd broadcast a simple message on every frequency. Welcome to Sol. We've been expecting you. The hidden arsenal. The Nexarian fleet's first strike came as a wave of quantum-tipped missiles designed to bypass any known defense system. Commander Lyra Thex watched with cold confidence as they streaked toward Earth's orbital installations. But her confidence turned to confusion as the missiles began to deviate from their courses. Impossible, Ven whispered, his scales flickering with distress. They're using primitive magnetic fields to deflect quantum weaponry. The humans had constructed a vast network of electromagnetic generators, disguised as ordinary communication satellites. Each one was painfully simple by Nexarian standards, little more than copper coils and power sources. But together, they created an interlocking web of magnetic fields that played havoc with the quantum guidance systems. Clever, Lyra admitted. They couldn't develop quantum shielding, so they found a way to use basic physics against advanced technology. But the real surprise came when the humans launched their counterattack. What appeared to be ordinary weather satellites suddenly shed their outer shells, revealing clusters of simple mirrors. Precisely aligned, they focused sunlight into devastating beams that overwhelmed the Nexarians' thermal sensors. They're not just defending, Lyra realized. They're turning our own assumptions against us. The Nexarians had expected energy weapons, not the strategic use of reflected sunlight. Their shields were calibrated for high-energy impacts, not the constant pressure of concentrated solar radiation. From hidden bases on Earth's moon, humanity launched its next wave. Thousands of small objects filled space, appearing as mere debris on Nexarian sensors. But these weren't random pieces of space junk. They were smart dust, microscopic processors attached to reflective surfaces. As they spread through the battlefield, they formed an impromptu communication network, coordinating Earth's defenses while being virtually invisible to advanced scanning systems. "Sir," a tactical officer called out, "we're detecting something strange from their lunar bases." The display showed what appeared to be primitive fusion reactors, the kind any developing civilization might build. But they weren't being used for power generation. Instead, the humans had modified them into massive electromagnetic pulse generators. The first EMP wave caught the Nexarian fleet completely off guard. Their quantum computers, designed to resist any conventional electronic warfare, proved vulnerable to the sheer brute force of humanity's makeshift weapons. Ships began losing systems as the pulses played havoc with their sophisticated circuitry. "Fall back to minimum safe distance," Lyra ordered, her voice tight with frustration. "Recalibrate all shields for broad-spectrum defense." As the fleet retreated, Ven approached her command station. "How did we miss this? Their technology is centuries behind ours." "That's exactly how we missed it," Lyra replied, watching as another wave of human defenders emerged from hiding. "We were looking for advancement along our path, for quantum computing and antimatter weapons. We never considered they might take a completely different approach." The human ships now approaching were a testament to this different philosophy. They weren't the sleek, advanced vessels the Nexarians had expected. Instead, they were clearly retrofitted civilian craft, cargo haulers and mining ships converted for combat. But each modification showed a deep understanding of their opponent's weaknesses. Solar sails doubled as sensor jamming surfaces. Mining lasers, designed to cut through asteroids, proved equally effective against Nexarian armor. Even their communication systems were purposefully primitive, using simple radio waves that cut through the quantum interference generated by Nexarian jammers. "They haven't been trying to catch up to our level of technology," Lyra realized. "They've been preparing to fight us asymmetrically all along." As she watched another squadron of her ships fall back under the relentless human assault, Lyra couldn't help but admire their strategy. The humans hadn't just prepared for invasion. They had turned their entire technological infrastructure into a weapon, hiding their true capabilities in plain sight until the moment they were needed. The battle was far from over, but one thing was clear. The Nexarians would have to completely rethink their approach to this supposedly primitive species. Counterattack. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the darkened control room of the Global Defense Network, watching as streams of data flowed across the holographic displays. Around her, dozens of operators coordinated humanity's most ambitious counteroffensive yet. "Operation Lighthouse. All ground stations report ready," her assistant reported. "The entire network has been reconfigured according to your specifications." Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the representation of Earth's vast communication infrastructure. For decades, humans had built an intricate web of fiber optic cables, satellite relays, and cellular towers. Now, they would use it as a weapon. "The Nexarians think we're primitive because we still use electronic computers and radio waves," she said, addressing the room. "Let's show them why we never abandoned these technologies." High above Earth, Commander Lyra Thex was growing increasingly frustrated. Despite their superior technology, the Nexarian fleet had been unable to break through humanity's surprisingly effective defenses. But now they had a new strategy. "Begin the neural broadcast," she ordered. The Nexarians' most powerful weapon was their ability to project targeted electromagnetic fields that could interfere with any known computing system. Against a pre-FTL civilization, it should have been devastating. The first sign that something was wrong came when the neural broadcast began encountering interference. Earth's atmosphere was suddenly alive with a complex pattern of electromagnetic signals emanating from millions of points simultaneously. "What are they doing?" Ven demanded, his scales shifting to a worried purple. "These signals, they're coming from their communication towers." Sarah allowed herself a small smile as the first phase of Operation Lighthouse began. Every cell phone tower, radio antenna, and satellite dish on Earth had been reprogrammed to work in concert, creating a planet-wide electromagnetic field that matched and canceled out the Nexarians' neural attacks. But that was just the beginning. Phase 2 initiated as Earth's fiber optic network came into play. The humans had discovered that by modulating the light passing through their global fiber network in specific patterns, they could create quantum interference effects that played havoc with the Nexarians' sophisticated sensors. They're using their entire planet as a transmitter, Lyra realized, watching as her fleet's targeting systems began to fail. The humans had turned their world's communication infrastructure into one massive signal jammer, using the very simplicity of their technology as a shield against the Nexarians' advanced weapons. Launch the cyber warfare suite, Lyra commanded, determined to regain the initiative. The Nexarians released swarms of quantum AI constructs designed to infiltrate and disable any computer network. Sarah had been waiting for this. Execute Phase 3, she ordered. Across the planet, millions of ordinary computers, in homes, offices, and mobile devices, began running a specially designed program. Individually, each computer was laughably primitive compared to Nexarian technology. But together, networked into a vast distributed system, they created something unprecedented. The Nexarian AIs encountered not a single advanced computer to battle, but billions of simple machines working in perfect harmony. It was like trying to fight an ocean with a sword. There was no central point to attack, no complex system to disable, just an overwhelming flood of basic operations that overwhelmed their quantum processors. This is impossible, Venn protested as another wave of cyber attacks failed. Their technology is centuries behind ours. How can they be defeating our best systems? Because we forgot something fundamental, Lyra replied, watching as her fleet's capabilities were systematically neutralized by Earth's transformed communication network. Sometimes the simplest solution is the most effective. In the control room, Sarah watched as Operation Lighthouse reached its crescendo. The entire planet had become one giant transmitter, broadcasting a signal that rendered the Nexarians' most sophisticated weapons useless. Not through advanced technology, but through the creative application of basic principles on a massive scale. Send the message, she instructed. Across every frequency, using everything from radio waves to modulated neutrino beams, Earth broadcast its response to the invasion. Your technology is impressive, but you've forgotten that innovation isn't about having the most advanced tools. It's about how you use what you have. Understanding. Commander Lyra Thex stood in the dimensional projection chamber of the Eternal Dawn, surrounded by the collected data from their failed invasion attempts. The holographic displays showed hundreds of human innovations, each one a testament to their unique approach to problem solving. Look at this, she said, gesturing to a particular display. Their early space program. When they couldn't develop advanced propulsion systems, they didn't wait. They strapped themselves to controlled explosions and pointed them at the stars. Venn moved through the projections, his scales shifting through shades of blue as he absorbed the information. Their entire history is filled with such improvisations. Not improvisations, Lyra corrected. Adaptations. Every limitation became a catalyst for innovation. She brought up another display, showing Earth's global defense network. When they couldn't match our quantum computers, they networked billions of simple machines together. When they couldn't develop energy shields, they found ways to use basic physics to achieve the same results. The chamber filled with new projections as the ship's AI compiled more examples. Primitive nuclear fission reactors modified to generate electromagnetic pulses. Civilian satellites repurposed as a solar weapon platform. Mining equipment transformed into military hardware. We assumed technological advancement followed a linear path, Lyra continued, moving through the displays. Mechanical computing leads to electronic computing, leads to quantum computing. Chemical rockets lead to fusion drives, lead to dimensional folding. But they took a different path entirely. Venn finished. At every stage, instead of waiting to develop advanced technology, they found creative ways to use what they had. A communication alert chimed through the chamber. The humans were broadcasting again, but this time on a single focused frequency. directly to the eternal dawn. Lyra authorized the transmission. Dr. Sarah Chen's holographic image appeared in the chamber. "Commander Thex," she began, "I think it's time we had a real conversation about the nature of advancement." Lyra studied the human scientist. "You knew we were coming. Not just recently. You've been preparing for contact with advanced civilizations for generations." Sarah nodded. "We discovered radio astronomy and realized we weren't alone. But we also realized something else. If there were civilizations capable of interstellar travel, they would likely be far more technologically advanced than us." "So you prepared," Ven interjected, "but not by trying to catch up technologically." "That would have been impossible," Sarah agreed. "Instead, we focused on understanding fundamental principles, physics, mathematics, the basic laws that govern the universe. We figured that no matter how advanced alien technology became, it would still have to operate within those laws." Lyra gestured at the displays around them. "And you found ways to use those basic principles to counter advanced technology. Brilliant and humbling." "Your civilization focused on developing new technologies," Sarah explained. "We focused on finding new ways to use existing ones. Both approaches have their merits." The implications of this conversation weren't lost on Lyra. The Nexarian Empire had conquered worlds by overwhelming them with superior technology. But humanity had shown that technological superiority alone wasn't enough. They had turned their entire civilization into a defensive weapon, not through advanced technology, but through innovative application of basic principles. "You never needed to catch up to us technologically," Lyra realized. "You just needed to understand the fundamental principles well enough to find our weaknesses." Sarah's hologram smiled. "The universe doesn't care how advanced your technology is. The same laws of physics apply to everyone. We just learn to be creative with those laws." In that moment, Lyra made a decision that would change the course of both civilizations. "I'm initiating contact protocols," she announced. "Not as conquerors, but as equals. I believe both our peoples have much to learn from each other." The human scientist's expression turned thoughtful. "About that, we have a proposal, one that might benefit both our civilizations." Evolution. 1 year after the failed invasion, the orbital space around Earth had transformed. The Nexarian flagship Eternal Dawn now served as a joint research facility, where humans and Nexarians worked side by side, each bringing their unique perspectives to solve complex problems. In the station's primary laboratory, Dr. Sarah Chen and Commander Lyra Thex stood before a holographic display showing their latest joint project. Around them, teams of human and Nexarian scientists worked together, their differences in approach creating unexpected synergies. "It's remarkable," Lyra said, watching as a human engineer used simple mechanical principles to solve a problem that had stumped Nexarian quantum computers for decades. "We spent centuries developing increasingly complex solutions, never considering that simplicity might be the answer." Sarah nodded, adjusting a set of conventional mirrors that, when properly aligned, could enhance the efficiency of Nexarian dimensional drives by 300%. "And we never imagined how our basic understanding of physics could be applied to advanced technology. Together, we're creating something entirely new." The laboratory exemplified this fusion of approaches. Nexarian quantum processors worked alongside networks of simple human computers. Advanced energy weapons were enhanced by basic optical principles. Human creativity combined with Nexarian precision to push the boundaries of what both species thought possible. The Council was skeptical at first, Lyra admitted, her scales shifting to a contemplative green. The idea of learning from a pre-FTL civilization seemed absurd. But now they're beginning to understand what we've learned. Sarah finished. "That advancement isn't just about developing new technology. It's about understanding the fundamental principles behind it." Around them, the evidence of this new philosophy was clear. Human scientists had taken Nexarian quantum technology and found ways to replicate its effects using simple, reliable mechanisms. Nexarian engineers had learned to appreciate the elegance of human solutions, incorporating basic physical principles into their advanced designs. We've received reports from 17 other civilizations in the Empire, Lyra said, bringing up a new display. They're all requesting to establish similar exchange programs. Your approach to problem solving is revolutionizing how we think about technological development. Sarah smiled, remembering the tense early days of the invasion. And your technology is helping us understand new possibilities we never imagined. But we're keeping our old methods too. Sometimes a simple mirror is still the best solution. The station shuddered slightly as a new ship docked, the first joint human-Nexarian vessel. Its design reflected both civilizations' contributions, advanced Nexarian technology seamlessly integrated with human ingenuity and practical solutions. The real breakthrough, Lyra observed, watching the docking procedure, wasn't in technology at all. It was in learning that there are many paths to advancement, and that sometimes the longest-held assumptions are the ones most worth challenging, Sarah added. We assumed we needed to develop advanced technology to survive in the galaxy. You assumed advanced technology was the only path to progress. We were both wrong. As they looked out at Earth below, a message came through from the joint fleet now protecting the solar system. The defense network that had once repelled the Nexarian invasion had evolved, combining human creativity with Nexarian technology to create something unprecedented. A system that could adapt and respond to any threat using both simple and advanced solutions. We're ready to begin the next phase, Lyra announced. The first joint exploration mission. There are still countless mysteries in the universe to solve. Sarah smiled. And now we have twice as many ways to solve them. The view screen showed their new ship, its hull bearing the symbols of both Earth and the Nexarian Empire. It represented more than just a technological achievement. It was a testament to the power of different perspectives. A reminder that true advancement comes not from technology alone, but from the wisdom to use it well. As both human and Nexarian crews prepared for their first joint mission, they carried with them a new understanding that the greatest innovations often come not from having the most advanced technology, but from having the insight to use what you have in ways no one else has imagined. The stars awaited, and this time, they would explore them together.